And last but certainly not least, I would like to introduce Daniela Bushiri to share some remarks with us.
Thank you. So my name is Daniela Bushiri, and I want to start off by saying thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my story. See, sharing my story goes beyond just me describing sequences of events. This is an opportunity that gives yet another refugee that held onto hopes and dreams while facing many silencing losses in one lifetime. And trust me, there were many. And in essence, thank you for giving me a powerful voice to my story, a refugee with a dream. So my story begins with a terrified pregnant mother that was hiding away from soldiers as they knocked down house doors and shot anyone in sight. Every minute, a house was bombed. There was nowhere to run, and my mother did not run. In her condition, she had a better chance living by hiding underneath beds next to a pile of rocks than running. She clung on to hope that our house would not be the next house to be bombed. Her entire neighborhood was left massacred and left desolate. The deadly Congo War forced many to leave everything behind and seek asylum in neighboring countries. My family left Congo in 2000 and walked for months and months, catching fishermen boats, going days without food or water. We stayed in several refugee camps, and at one refugee camp, I severely burned my arm. But after a long journey that was filled with fear, terror, and desperation, we finally arrived in South Africa. This is where my dream was first ignited. My parents had so much hope for our future. Tunafika, they said, which means we've arrived in Swahili. They said if we worked hard enough, we could have a good life here. So I started dreaming. I started dreaming of growing up in this new country and one day calling it home. The more I witnessed and saw my parents work very hard at any job they could find, I started dreaming about prospering in my academics so that I could uplift my family and overcome poverty. My dream also included living free from oppression, violence, and prejudice. I dreamed of living a life that would allow me to pursue my dream without the hindrance of discrimination. I dreamed that one day I'll become a contributing citizen to a country that gave my family a second chance to life. So due to my parents' hopes and excitement, I believed that we could attain this in South Africa. Unfortunately, we were sadly mistaken. Upon reaching South Africa, we were labeled refugees. At first, we carried this label with pride because for us, it meant that we had overcome a war and we could, have this new beginning in this new country. However, soon this label became a heavy burden to carry. In 2008, a wave of xenophobia swept across South Africa. South African citizens started looting refugee-owned stores, assaulting and killing any person that identified as a refugee or immigrant. These catastrophic xenophobic attacks against refugees and immigrants put a large cage around my dream. I started wondering, would we ever be free? I remember my mother urging us to lock the doors of our tiny house as she went to work. That very day, the top news story was about a kid my age, and at that time I was about 10 years old, that was burnt alive because his parents were from Somalia. I started crying and worrying that my mother would not make it back home alive. Soon after that, we found ourselves back at a refugee camp, as if we went around the whole circle to start back where we started. Remember, this time, there was talks about refugees being moved to first world countries if the xenophobia violence persisted. This is when my mother registered for the UN resettlement program. Hope and joy was immediately restored into our lives, and for the next 8 years, we were able to endure any violence and any discrimination because we knew soon it will all be over. So during those 8 years of waiting, the violence subsided, but the residue of xenophobia lingered. The more I grew up, the more I understood the limitations and suppressions placed upon refugees in South Africa. I noticed that refugees were not eligible for scholarships or financial aid at universities. And if somehow you managed to finance your way through university, it was incredibly difficult to find a job that matched your qualification, all because you were a refugee. To top that off, you had a better chance of winning the lottery or something than being naturalized into the country in order to receive these citizen benefits. So I immediately knew that the resettlement program was my only way to actualize my dreams. So finally that day came. In 2016, we arrived in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and our lives completely changed for the better. As you can imagine, we were excited about the prospect of moving into a country that would finally accept us and give us an opportunity to live freely. A country that would give us the opportunity to overcome poverty and finally a place we could call home. So with the help of the IOM, who assisted with traveling, and the IRC here in Elizabeth, who assisted with assimilating into USA, we're able to start our lives in this country well equipped for success. So after being a refugee for practically all my life, in 2017, I became a permanent resident of the United States. And while this identity transition was quite an achievement for me, it was only the beginning. So as you can see in my bio, I'm currently a student at the New Jersey Institute of Technology studying chemical engineering. My siblings are also pursuing their dreams at university, one studying mechanical engineering and the other business management. We are all able to afford going to university now because of the federal, state, and university financial aid. Through the opportunities I've gotten at NJIT, I obtained a chemical engineering summer internship at a company called Infineon, where I'm currently gaining hands-on experience for my future career. Additionally, last year I was able to go on a mission trip to Ghana, where I was able to give back to an underprivileged community. I'm also very involved in many professional organizations on campus where I get the opportunity to travel all across the United States to attend different conferences. So from what I previously shared with you, you can conclude that I would have never gotten similar opportunities as a refugee in South Africa. After graduating at NJIT, I would like to do my PhD at a reputable university and thereafter pursue a research career focusing on creating new materials for either the pharmaceutical, food, or energy industry. Along the way, I would also like to start businesses in different countries that aim to create jobs and empower refugees around the world. I would also like to share my story and the stories of other refugees through different mediums. I'm going to raise awareness about the plight of refugees around the world. Also, as mentioned in my bio, I started a YouTube channel recently where I share my spoken word and poetry as a way to share my story. So for today, I'd like to share a small piece of one of the poems I wrote. It's called Where Do I Belong? So I asked myself, where do I belong? So we asked ourselves, where do we belong? Is it our fault that our motherland was plagued with war, natural disasters, or political oppressions? That's a weighty suggestion that fearfully changes the question, do you have a confession? We seek asylum. We seek a safe haven. We seek a second chance to life, a new direction. We don't seek to be discriminated, assaulted, killed, exploited. It's a misconception. We seek a second chance to live in freedom, free from condemnation. Wrong, never will we ever belong. Some of us went beyond crossing 1, 2, 3 borders by foot. Some of us allowed the ocean current to displace us, the airplane wings to embrace us. And now here I am, in the land of the free and the brave, wondering if my identity is still in that cave, wondering if all my warriors are gone in America, will I ever belong? It's interesting how birds have the freedom to roam and call any land home, while man cannot swim beyond the uncharted shores of nationalities. We are all once clay, clothed in unique skins, but having one reality. Yet today, borders separate the innocence of our souls and snatch away the privilege of calling a place home. America made it possible for my dream to become a reality. And I'm eternally grateful for the UNHCR, the IOM, IRC, and America for giving me a place I could call home, and a third chance to life. So if there's anything that I would like you to take away from my story, is that just like me, there are many other refugees out there with dreams that would never come true unless they're given the opportunity or chance to move into countries, more inclusive host countries. So in celebration of World Refugee Day, I'd like to urge us all to strive to keep these opportunities available for other refugees as well. Thank you.